हरि ओम हरि ओम सर्वरिಗೂ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರಗಳು. Prostrating at the feet, lotus feet of our Sadguru, Shrotriya Brahmanishta, Sri Virajeshwara Saraswati, on behalf of all of us, and also to the entire Guru Parampara, today's discourse on Acharya Shankara Bhagavad Pada's Vivek Chudamani will continue. There are one or two small things I have to say beginning only. Some technical problems are coming up as far as I am concerned. Everything is a new experience. Now the venue is getting changed from one place to another place. So sometimes signal problem may be there. Signal problem may be there, and then it may be cut. So in such cases, there may be some disturbances here and there. So you have to bear with us. With that introduction, we will start. ಹೋದ ಸಲ ವಿವೇಕ ಚೂಡಾಮಣಿನಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಶಿಷ್ಯ ಅಥವಾ ಭಕ್ತನಿಗೆ ಮಾನಸಿಕ ಅರ್ಹತೆ ಹೇಗೆ ಇರಬೇಕು ಗುರುವಿನ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಅಂತ ತಿಳಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದು ಮಾತು ಹೇಳಿದ್ರು, ಮಂದ ಮಧ್ಯಮ ಅಧಿಕಾರಿಯಾದ್ರೂ ಸಹ ಗುರುವಿನಿಂದ ಆತನಿಗೆ ಎಲ್ಲ ರೀತಿಯ ಗುರುಕೃಪೆ ಸಿಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತ 29ನೇ ಶ್ಲೋಕಕ್ಕೆ ಬಂದಿತ್ತು. So last time we had stopped at the 29th shloka of Viveka Chudamani, where Acharya had made it very clear that even if the disciple, the devotee, is not highly qualified, even if he's a less qualified, if he's a manda adhikari or a madhyama adhikari, still by the grace of the Guru prasadena, by the grace of the Guru, he will reach the goal. That is the assurance given by Bhagavad Pada. Then next he gives a clarification for this. Etayor mandata yatra viraktatva mumukshayo marau salila vattatra shamader bhanamatrata. Etayor mandata yatra viraktatva mumukshayo marau salila vattatra shamader bhanamatrata. Here Acharya is making one point very clear to all of us. In a qualified person or a spiritual aspirant, so-called spiritual aspirant, if the dispassion, vairagya and mumukshutva, the desire to know God, or in other words, the burning desire to know myself, mumukshutva, and dispassion, if it is not there, or if it is only an outward appearance, false appearance, then they will never reach the goal. He is making it very clear. Marau salilavat tatra shamadher bhanamatrata. He gives an example here. Just like in a hot sun in a desert, from a distance, there appears to be a water body available like a mirage, but there is no water body there. It is only a mirage. In the same way, some people, they try to be spiritual in life, but in the real sense, they don't have mumukshatva. They are not really interested. They don't have dispassion. It is something like, you want to enjoy the life, enjoy the world to the full. At the same time, you want Brahmajnana. Both cannot go together. That is what Acharya is hinting here. ನಮಗೆ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಜೀವನದ ಸಕಲ ಸುಖ ಭೋಗ ಐಶ್ವರ್ಯ ಅಭಿವೃದ್ಧಿ ಎಲ್ಲವೂ ಬೇಕು, ಜೊತೆಗೆ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನವೂ ಬೇಕು. ಎರಡೂ ಒಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಸೊ ಇಫ್ ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ನೋ ರಿಯಲ್ ವೈರಾಗ್ಯ, ಡಿಸ್ಪ್ಯಾಷನ್, aversion, as much as possible, you must try to give up. If that is not there, then the problem starts. So what he means here is, as our Gurudev was talking number of times, in fact, all Mahatmans know this point. Our Gurudev was using humorously a beautiful word. He used to say, there are part-time bhaktas, there are part-time devotees, there are part-time spiritual aspirants. They are not full-time. So once in a way they come here, they sit here for 1 or 2 hours with all seriousness. They listen to the discourse or satsanga, they sit here, and after 1 or 2 hours they will go away. So next another 15 days or 1 month they will visit here. So that will never help. It's only a mirage. So part-time spirituality will not help unless we are serious. That is the point. He is making it very clear. Then the next shloka, next 2 shlokas are so important. Acharya Bhagavad-pada now defines in his own terms, in the pure Advaitic, from the Advaitic standpoint. Please remember, purely from Advaitic standpoint, Acharya now defines in the next 2 shlokas what is really meant by bhakti, what is really a devotion, what exactly devotion means. Now, it may look very confusing at the outset if you go through his definition. If you contemplate deep, you'll understand why he says like that. So we'll come to the shloka first. ಮುಂದಿನ 2 ಶ್ಲೋಕಗಳಲ್ಲಿ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಭಕ್ತಿ, ನಿಜವಾದ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ. ಭಕ್ತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು? ವಾಟ್ ಈಸ್ ಡಿವೋಷನ್? ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಕಾರಣ ಸಾಮಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂ ಭಕ್ತಿರೇವ ಗರೀಯಸಿ ಸ್ವಸ್ವರೂಪಾನುಸಂಧಾನಂ ಭಕ್ತಿರಿತ್ಯಭಿಧೀಯತೆ. ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಕಾರಣ ಸಾಮಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂ ಭಕ್ತಿರೇವ ಗರೀಯಸಿ ಸ್ವಸ್ವರೂಪಾನುಸಂಧಾನಂ ಭಕ್ತಿರಿತ್ಯಭಿಧೀಯತೆ. ಮೋಕ್ಷ ಕಾರಣ ಸಾಮಗ್ರ್ಯಾಂ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಏವ ಗರೀಯಸಿ. Acharya says, among all your different modes of sadhana, different types of your upasana, bhakti eva gariyasi. Bhakti is the most important and simple, at the same time very essential samagri. Samagri means it is an important tool to reach Godhead, to be realized in this birth itself. Then he says, what is this bhakti? Swaswarupānusandhānam bhaktirityavidhīyate. So he says, bhakti means swaswarupa anusandhana. Bhakti, devotion means swaswarupa anusandhana. What is that swaswarupa anusandhana? Continuously contemplating on one's own real nature. Swaswarupa anusandhana. always remembering and contemplating, reflecting and thinking, manana, thinking, reflecting, contemplating on what is my real nature. Who am I? What is this padartha inside me? What is the chetana inside me? What is that? Is it that I am really? So, such contemplative questions, concentrating on our Pratyagatma, self, always thinking about our own Atma. Swaswarupa means my real nature. That is real bhakti. That is real bhakti, he says. Normally we know. ಸಾಮಾನ್ಯವಾಗಿ ನಮಗೆ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭಗವತ್ ಸ್ತೋತ್ರ ಕೇಳೋದು, ಭಗವನ್ ನಾಮ ಜಪ, ಭಜನೆ, ಕೀರ್ತನೆ, ಉಪಾಸನೆ, ದೇವಸ್ಥಾನಗಳಿಗೆ ಹೋಗೋದು, ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಂಡು ದೇವರ ಪೂಜೆ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಭಗವಂತನ ಗುಣಗಾನ ಮಾಡೋದು ಭಕ್ತಿ. ನಾವು ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರೋ ಹಾಗೆ. ದಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಟ್ರೂ. ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ? ನಿಜವಾದ ಭಕ್ತಿ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಮ್ಮ ನಿಜವಾದ ಒಳಗಿನ ಇರುವಿಕೆಯನ್ನು ಅರಿಯುವುದು. ಟು ನೋ ಎಕ್ಸಾಕ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಹೂ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಈಸ್ ದ ರಿಯಲ್ ಭಕ್ತಿ. Upasanas are there, doing bhajans, kirtans, going to temples, worshipping God, everything is there. That's what we are, we call that is a devotion to the God. We are immersed in the devotion. We sing the glory of God. That's what we call bhakti, devotion. But Acharya is going beyond that. Acharya is telling beyond that. He is hinting beyond that. What is that? He says that bhakti means where you try to know yourself. That is real parabhakti. So he is giving a definition for parabhakti, which is higher than the normal bhakti. Parabhakti is something cannot be explained compared to regular devotion. Swami Vivekananda has given a wonderful talks on these things in his books. It is there, and he gives a comparison. Swami Vivekananda says on bhakti, devotion, you people will never know what exactly the heart, the pouring heart, melting heart, the real devotion, the love towards Lord Krishna gopis had in their mind. You will read, of course, but you will never understand that that is the highest form of bhakti. 24 hours, bar 7. Gopis, Gopika ladies in Vrindavan, they were always thinking of Krishna, 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 Krishna. That was a divine love they had in their heart towards Krishna. It is not similar to a man and a woman love affair. It is something beyond that. If you read Swami Vivekananda, you will know exactly what he is speaking. Saint Mirabai, every one of us we have heard. She was in that parabhakti mode all the time. So that is real bhakti. Once they lose their identity, what happens? They merge themselves with the idol, the Ishtadevata, with whom they are associating 24 hours. They merge with the Ishtadevata. So they become one with the God. That is real bhakti. So Acharya is hinting that you concentrate, you always contemplate on that Swaswarupa Anusandhana. That is real bhakti. This lower level bhakti, it is required, no doubt it is required. Acharya is not saying that you should not do any upasana. Acharya is not saying that you should not do any japa. Acharya is not saying that you should not sing any kirtan. No. Acharya himself is a great bhakta. He was a great bhakta, even though he was a great Jnani Mahapurusha, Avatara Purusha. You remember, on bhakti for common man, how he has written so much of stotras. One of the finest stotra, Ratna, is Mohamuddara, commonly called Bhajagovindam. What he says in the very first shloka itself, Devotion pours in through the heart of the Acharya. He tells the common man, look, develop devotion first. At this fag end of your life, you don't know when you're going to die, today or tomorrow. Instead of all other things, at least utter the name of Lord, he says. Bhaja Govindam, Govindam, Bhaja Modamathe, Samprapte, Sannihite, Kale, Nahi Nahi Rakshati, Drukum Karade. Very first shloka of Mohamuddara. He says, Modamate, look, foolish man. Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam, Bhaja Govindam. Tell the name of the Lord, take the name of the Lord, take the name of the God. So that is bhakti. He never denies that. But from the Advaitic standpoint, he says the real bhakti, para bhakti, is trying to know at a higher step, at a higher level, trying to know who you are, trying to know who I am, trying to know my real nature. Swaswarupanusandhana. That's what he says. Next shloka also same thing. Different words. Swatmatatvanusandhanam bhaktiritya pare jaguhu. Swatmatatvanusandhanam bhaktiritya pare jaguhu. Ukta sadhana sampannam tattva jijñasuratmanaha. Swatmatatvanusandhanam bhaktihi iti apare jaguhu. He says, even the others, other Mahatmans at his time or before Acharya Shankara, he takes the names and he remembers. Even the other Mahapurushas have said the same. Bhakti means Swatma Tattva Anusandhana. Trying to contemplate on my own self, trying to know my own Atma Tattva, trying to decipher who I am. To remember what is Nitya, to remember what is Anitya, to remember that I am not the body, to always remember I am not the mind, to always remember I am not the buddhi. I means it is something beyond the body-mind complex. So that is Swatma Tattva Anusandhana. The Atma residing here, Pratyagatma, that is the real nature of myself. I am really that only, not the body. Body is there, a name is there, the entity is born, the entity is living, and entity is working, and finally this entity will die. This is not myself. I am beyond all this. I am neither born nor living in the worldly sense, nor I am going to die in the worldly sense. So neither I have a birth nor I have a death. I am deathless, birthless. That I am. To understand, not by words, to experience ourselves, to think on that, to do sadhana on that. That is real bhakti. Ukta sadhana sampannam tattva jijñasuratmanaha. So, with all your mental qualities for the sadhana mode, all the mental modifications, you think real bhakti, devotion is understanding your own nature. Then the third line is shloka. Upasedet gurum prajñam yasmat bandha vimokshanam. Upasedet gurum prajñam yasmat bandha mokshanam. ಆದ್ದರಿಂದ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಈ ನಮ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವವನ್ನ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ನಾನು ಅರಿಯುವುದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ, ತಿಳಿಯುವುದಕ್ಕೋಸ್ಕರ ಏನ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನೀನು ಪ್ರಾಜ್ಞನಾಗಿರುವ, ವಿವೇಕಿಯಾಗಿರುವ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮನಿಷ್ಠನಾಗಿರುವ ಸದ್ಗುರುವಿನ ಬಳಿ ಹೋಗಬೇಕಪ್ಪ. ಉಪಸೀದೇತ್ ಗುರುಂ ಪ್ರಾಜ್ಞಂ ಯಸ್ಮಾತ್ ಬಂಧ ವಿಮೋಕ್ಷಣಂ. So to know yourself, you have to go to such a guru who is a prajna, who is a wise man, knowledgeable man, knower of truth. Such a Sadguru who has realized himself, who is a sage himself, who has already emancipated himself, who is a Brahmajnani. You must go to such a guru and he will show the way. That is the point. So, next shloka, Acharya is saying, he's hinting actually what are the qualities of a Sadguru. How a Sadguru behaves, how he appears to the world. How can we think that he is a Sadguru? So he is giving attributes of a Sadguru. ಮುಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಒಬ್ಬ ನಿಜವಾದ ಸದ್ಗುರು ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿ ಆತ್ಮತತ್ವವನ್ನು ತಿಳಿದಂತ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಸಂಪನ್ನ ಗುರು ಹೇಗಿರ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕ. ಶ್ರೋತ್ರಿಯೋ ವ್ರಜಿನೋ ಕಾಮಹತೋ ಯೋ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿತ್ತಮಃ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಣ್ಯುಪರತಃ ಶಾಂತೋ ನಿರಂಧನ ಇವಾನಲಃ. ಶ್ರೋತ್ರಿಯೋ ವ್ರಜಿನೋ ಕಾಮಹತೋ ಯೋ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿತ್ತಮಃ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಣ್ಯುಪರತಃ ಶಾಂತೋ ನಿರಂಧನ ಇವಾನಲಃ. ಅಹೇತುಕದಯಾ ಸಿಂಧುರ್ಬಂಧುರಾನಮತಾಂ ಸತಾಂ. ಅಹೇತುಕದಯಾ ಸಿಂಧುರ್ಬಂಧು ಆನಮತಾಂ ಸತಾಂ. What are the qualities of a Sadguru? A Sadguru is a one, Acharya says, Acharya Shankara Bhagavad-Pada is defining here. A Sadguru is the one who is Shrotriya, well versed in Upanishad Shrutis, holy scriptures. ಉಪನಿಷತ್ತುಗಳನ್ನ ಧರ್ಮ ಗ್ರಂಥಗಳನ್ನ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಮಾಡಿರತಕ್ಕಂಥ, ತನ್ನ ಗುರುವಿನ ಮೂಲಕ ಅಭ್ಯಾಸ ಮಾಡಿರತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸದ್ಗುರುವಿಗೆ ಶ್ರೋತ್ರಿಯ. ಶ್ರೋತ್ರಿಯ. ಅವ್ರಜಿನಃ. ಅವ್ರಜಿನಃ. ಅವ್ರಜಿನಃ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಸಿನ್ಲೆಸ್, ಪಾಪರಹಿತನಾದಂಥವ. ಅಕಾಮಹತಃ, ಡಿಸೈರ್ಲೆಸ್. ಸಚ್ ಎ ಸದ್ಗುರು ಇಸ್ ಸಿನ್ಲೆಸ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಡಿಸೈರ್ಲೆಸ್. ಯಾವುದೇ ಆಸೆ ಆಕಾಂಕ್ಷೆಗಳು ಇಲ್ಲದೆ ಇರತಕ್ಕಂಥವನು. ಯೋ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿತ್ತಮಃ, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮವಿದರಲ್ಲಿ ಶ್ರೇಷ್ಠನು. ಹಿ ಈಸ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಮಾಂಗ್ ದ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನೀಸ್. So one who is a Shrotriya, one who is sinless, one who is desireless, one who is a knower of Brahma, one who is supereminent. Brahmanyuparatah shanto nirandhana ivanalah. Brahmani uparitah. Always his mind is always attuned to the inner Atma, inner self or God. He is always attuned to that. Though he is living in the world, talking to you and me, like a common person, ordinary person, his pure mind, Shuddha Sattva Manas, always it is immersed in Brahma only, because he is a Brahmavida, he is a knower of Brahma. Shantaha Nirandhana Ivanalaha, he is so quiet and peaceful and contented. ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿ ಹೇಗಿರ್ತಾನೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಶಾಂತನಾಗಿರ್ತಾನೆ, ಪ್ರಶಾಂತ ಮನಸ್ಸು. ಈ ಕಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಉರಿತಾ ಜ್ವಾಲೆ, ಕಟ್ಟಿಗೆ ಪೂರ್ತಿ ಸುಟ್ಟೋದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಜ್ವಾಲೆ ತಣ್ಣಗಾಗುತ್ತೆ, ಶಾಂತವಾಗತ್ತೆ ಅಂತೀವಲ್ಲ ಹಾಗೆ. ನಿರಂಧನ ಇವಾನಲಃ. ಅಹೇತುಕದಯಾ ಸಿಂಧು ಬಂಧು ಆನಮತಾಂ ಸತಾಂ. Such a Brahmajnani is anamatam satam. He is being worshipped by all other sadhus, spiritual people, sadhakas. They come and prostrate to him every time. So a lovable person, loved by all sadhus, spiritual aspirants. Anamatam satah. Ahetuka daya sindhuhu. Very important word. A Sadguru is always ahetuka daya sindhuhu. What does it mean? He showers unconditional, divine love to each and anyone who approaches him. Whether a sinner approaches, a beggar approaches, whether a moneyed man approaches, whether a virtuous man approaches, with all humility, prostrate and surrender, he will look down upon them with the same affection, with the same love. Ahetuka daya sindhu. Unconditional showering of his grace. He doesn't expect anything from you. What is that you can give him, who is a Brahmajnani himself? You can give some money, some comforts. Is he bothered about that? Never. So he is ahetuka, without any reason. He will shower his grace on you. His look itself is enough. When he smiles at your face, looking at you through the eyes, when the contact of his eyes, it enters into your eyes, that is Guru Kataksha Vikshana. Your sins are absolved gradually. That is the power of the grace, Guru Kataksha, the glance of a Guru. Simply when he looks at you, that is enough. You don't know what is happening, but your sins are being washed away, provided you are an humble devotee prostrating at the feet of the Guru, devoid of your ego or ahankara, without thinking that you are a big man, a millionaire, billionaire, big shot. Simply with all humbleness and humility, when you approach and fall at the feet of the Guru, Guru will see the heart, whether you're really humble or not. That is why he is called Ahetuka Daya Sindhu. So he's a, what is the Ahetuka Daya Sindhu? Once again, he's an ocean of mercy. ಅತ್ಯಂತ ವಾತ್ಸಲ್ಯ ಭರಿತರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ, ದಯಾಪೂರ್ಣ ಭರಿತರಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ, ಕರುಣಾಮೂರ್ತಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂತಹ ಸದ್ಗುರು. ಅಂತಹ ಗುರು ಪಾಪರಹಿತ, ಆಸೆಗಳಿಂದ ವರ್ಜಿತನಾಗಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವನು, ಶ್ರೋತ್ರಿಯ, ವಿಷಯಗಳನ್ನ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವನು, ಆಳವಾದ ಉಪನಿಷತ್ ಅಧ್ಯಯನ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವನು, ಆತ ಶ್ರೋತ್ರಿಯ. ಅಂತಹ ಗುರು ನಿಮಗೆ ದಾರಿ ತೋರಿಸ್ತಾನಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಶ್ರೋತ್ರಿಯ ಅವ್ರಜನ ಅಕಾಮಹತೋ ಯೇ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮ ವಿತ್ತಮ. See, the first line itself is a repetition from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Shrotriyo vrajino kamahato yo brahma vittamah. This is from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. So what is there in Upanishad, Acharya is bringing again, making it simple here. Then he says, ಅಂತಹ ಗುರು ಸಿಕ್ಕಾಗ ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಮುಂದೆ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು. ತಮಾರಾಧ್ಯ ಗುರುಂ ಭಕ್ತ್ಯ ಪ್ರಶ್ರಯ ಸೇವನೈ ಪ್ರಸನ್ನಂ ತಮನುಪ್ರಾಪ್ಯ ಪೃಚ್ಛೇ ಜ್ಞಾತವ್ಯಮಾತ್ಮನಃ. ತಮಾರಾಧ್ಯ ಗುರುಂ ಭಕ್ತ್ಯ ಪ್ರಶ್ನಯ ಸೇವನೈ ಪ್ರಸನ್ನಂ ತಮನುಪ್ರಾಪ್ಯ ಪೃಚ್ಛೇತ್ ಜ್ಞಾತವ್ಯ ಆತ್ಮನಃ. ತಮಾರಾಧ್ಯ ಗುರುಂ, ಅಂತಹ ಗುರು ಹತ್ತಿರ ಹೋಗಿ ನಮಸ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡಿ ಭಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಗುರುವಿನ ಸೇವಿಸಿ ನಮ್ರತೆ ವಿನಯದಿಂದ ಆತ ಪ್ರಸನ್ನನಾದಾಗ ವೇದಾಂತಕ್ಕೆ ಸಂಬಂಧಪಟ್ಟ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳನ್ನ ಗುರು ಪ್ರಸನ್ನ ಚಿತ್ತನಾಗಿದ್ದಾಗ ಮಾಡಬೇಕಪ್ಪ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ. ಸೊ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ನೌ ಸೇಸ್, worshipping such a guru, Sadguru, who is a Brahmajnani or a knower of truth, who is a realized master, a realized sage. So going to such a Sadguru, falling at his feet, worshipping him with all devotion, service and humility, doing all sorts of Guru Seva or Shushrusha as it is called, waiting for the nick moment when Guru is pleased, then you should ask questions related to Vedanta or Jnanasatva or Brahmajnana or liberation or realization. Wait for an opportune moment when the Guru is pleased, then you ask. Before that, you do all the seva. You have the devotion. Do the service. Put out your ego outside. Enter with humility. Listen to him. Be in his satsanga. Whatever he says, upadesha, that is, listen properly. Shavana. Reflect every day what he says. Always think what Guru has said. That is manana. Then start your meditation, nididhyasana. So by going to such a Sadguru, you All the three should happen in your mind. Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And wait for opportunity to ask. What questions? Not your worldly questions. If you go with your desires of the worldly level, if I go to the Guru, my problem gets solved. If I go to him, somehow he will solve this crisis in my life. Not like that. Go with a real jijnasatva, burning desire to know yourself. Then, when the Guru is pleased, he will help you. That's what Acharya. Same thing. Please remember what Acharya has written here. Tamaradhya gurum bhaktya prahva prashraya sevanai prasannam tamanuprapya pruchet jnatavyam atmanah. Atmanah jnatavyam pruchet. To know your Atma, ask relevant questions. Same thing. Lord Krishna Paramatma in Bhagavad Gita, note down that famous shloka. Our Gurudev, he was very fond of some phrases and shlokas of Bhagavad Gita. Ex-tempo, he used to talk on that. Once he took the shloka, half an hour to 40 minutes he explained inner content of the shloka. ಗುರುಗಳು ಒಮ್ಮೆ ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕವನ್ನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಭಗವದ್ಗೀತೆ. ಯಾವುದು? ಸುಮಾರು ಅರ್ಧ ಗಂಟೆ ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದೇ ಶ್ಲೋಕದ ಮೇಲೆ ವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾನ ಕೊಟ್ಟರು. ತದ್ವಿಧಿ ಪ್ರಣಿಪಾತೇನ ಪರಿಪ್ರಶ್ನೇನ ಸೇವಯ ತದ್ವಿಧಿ ಪ್ರಣಿಪಾತೇನ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೇನ ಸೇವಯ ಉಪದೇಕ್ಷಂತಿ ತೇ ಜ್ಞಾನಂ ಜ್ಞಾನಿನ ತತ್ವದರ್ಶಿನಃ. ಉಪದೇಕ್ಷಂತಿ ತೇ ಜ್ಞಾನಂ ತತ್ವದರ್ಶಿನ ಜ್ಞಾನಿನ. Tatvadarshina Jnanina. Lord says that Bhagavad Gita. Remember Arjuna, Tat Vidhi. Remember, put up in your mind, note down, assertive. Lord says, Tat Vidhi means it is not simply, yes, I understood. Not like that. Remember correctly. Put up in your mind correctly. Tatvidhi. Know this what I am talking. Very important point. Very interesting point. Very important point. Tatvidhi. He is ordering Arjuna there. Tadvidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya upadekshanti te jnanam jnanina tattvadarshinaha. Only when you bow down yourself, and then when Guru is pleased, do all the seva, follow all his instructions, do everything what he says. At the opportune moment, you ask the question, then such a jnani Guru, such a tattvadarshi Guru, such a samadarshi Guru, such a atmajnani Guru, such a brahmajnani Guru, upadekshanti te jnanam. Te, and for you, jnanam upadekshanti. They will then, when they are pleased, they will tell you about jnana. They will help you to get yourself realized in this birth itself at opportune time. Nobody knows when. It cannot happen in one day, our Gurudev used to say. If you come today and prostrate to me, thinking that tomorrow you will get Brahmajnana, it is not at all like that. Our Gurudev used to say, Shrotramicha Shushrusha. There is a word he sometimes he used. Shrotram Icha Shushrusha. Shushrusha, Sanskrit word, means service. Guru Shushrusha, service to the Guru. Different types of services. Without the service or seva to the Guru, no Guru is pleased. No Sadguru is pleased. Without you really performing the seva or service, that is Shushrusha, service to the Guru. There are hundreds of varieties. And our Gurudev was telling about one simple, very simple service. He used to say, Shrotrum Icha, the Icha, the desire in you to listen, Shrotrum, to listen properly what the Guru says. That itself is a great service you are rendering. You know the significant point? ಗುರುಗಳು ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು? ಏಕಾಗ್ರತೆಯಿಂದ ಭಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಗುರು ಏನು ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅದನ್ನು ಆಲೈಸೋದು, ಕಿವಿಯಿಂದ ಕೇಳೋದಲ್ಲ. ಗುರುಗಳು ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ರು ಕೇಳೋದು ಬೇರೆ, ಆಲೈಸೋದು ಬೇರೆ. ಆ ಕೇಳೋದು ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಭಕ್ತಿಯಿಂದ ಶ್ರದ್ಧೆಯಿಂದ ಅದನ್ನ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ತಗೊಳ್ಳೋದಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಅದು ನಿಜವಾದ ಗುರು ಸೇವೆ. It's such a beautiful point. The real service is to listen to the Upadesha of the Guru. And he used to say, if you simply hear what Guru said, that is not listening at all. Listening is different than hearing. Our Guru used to say that. Why? Listening means with all your heart and mind opened up, mind totally concentrated, totally attuned, your ears totally attuned to the pearls of wisdom when they flow from the lips, lotus lips of the Guru. Just wait for that. Just, and catch it into your heart. Catch it and put it in your heart itself directly so that you will remember it. That is listening. Not simply, today we had gone to our Guru Sunday. We spent there 2 hours and we came back. Monday you will forget what he has spoken. Our Guru used to say like that. Look, Nagaraj, people come here every Sunday or Saturday. And by the time they go home, they forget what I have said. He used to laughingly tell me. So, Shrotram Icha Shushruta. The real service is listening to the Guru with all concentration, with all love, affection, devotion, conviction, shraddha. Then things will move. Our Guru used to say this. Every time a devotee disciple comes here to see me, they don't know. To that extent, their previous birth sins, whatever they have committed, get slowly erased, slowly erased, slowly erased. Provided they have shraddha and conviction in Guru's teachings. Provided they have shraddha and conviction, devotion to the Guru himself. Their sins vanish gradually. So, that is the point Acharya is mentioning here. Then, next shloka is so important. Acharya is giving a direction to all of us. Next shloka, ಮುಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕ ಇದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ನಮಗಿದು ದಾರಿದೀಪ. ನಾವು ಏನು ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, ಗುರುವಿನ ಹತ್ರ ಹೋಗಿ ನಾವು ಏನು ಕೇಳಬೇಕು ಮನಸ್ಸಿನಲ್ಲಿ. So Acharya says, when the disciple with all the mumukshutva, vairagya, dispassion, shatsampatti, endowed with and with a desire to know himself, when he goes to a guru, what he should ask? Such a disciple or a devotee should ask like this. Swamin namaste nataloka bandho karunya sindho patitam bhavabdo. The disciple tells the Guru with all humility, devotion, folding his hands, falling at his feet, Saštanga Namaskar, totally prostrating at the lotus feet of the Guru. The disciple should urge. Through the heart he should speak with folded hands. What is it? Swamin namaste nataloka bandho karunya sindho patitam bhavabdo मामुद्धरात्मीय कटाक्ष दृष्ट्या रुज्व्याति कारुण्य सुधा विवृष्ट्या मामुद्धरात्मीय कटाक्ष दृष्ट्या रुज्व्या अति कारुण्य सुधा विवृष्ट्या. Disciple with an emotionally choked voice with almost tears flowing through the eyes or into the heart from the mind, having met such a Sadguru in his lifetime, who is a God incarnate himself standing in front of him, how he should say, Swamin Namaste Nataloka Bandho Karunya Sindho Patitam Bhavabdo. Now, the ocean of mercy as you are, look at me. I am now immersed in this materialistic life, worldly life, in this samsara, totally immersed. Totally immersed. Totally immersed. Patitam Bhavapto. You are a Karunya Sindho. You are an ocean of mercy. Swamin Namaste Nataloka Bandhu. People bow to you with reverence, and to such a person I am also bowing my head. Mam Uddhara. Mam Uddhara. Swamin Prabho. Hey Gurudeva, ನೀವು ನನ್ನನ್ನ ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡಿ. ಈ ಶ್ಲೋಕದ ಮೂಲ ಅರ್ಥ, ನಮ್ಮ ಮನಸ್ಸಲ್ಲಿ ಭಾವನೆ ಹೇಗಿರಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ, ಮಾಂ ಉದ್ಧರ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮೀಯ ಕಟಾಕ್ಷ ವೀಕ್ಷಣೆಯಿಂದ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕುಡಿನೋಟದಿಂದ, ವಾತ್ಸಲ್ಯ ಭರಿತ ಪ್ರೇಮ ಭರಿತ ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೋಟದಿಂದ ನನ್ನನ್ನು ಉದ್ಧಾರ ಮಾಡಿ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ನೋಟದಲ್ಲಿ ನೀವು ನನ್ನ ಕಡೆ ದೃಷ್ಟಿ ಹಾಕಿದರೆ ಅದರಲ್ಲಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಕಾರುಣ್ಯ ರಸ ಏನಿದೆ ಅದು ಅಮೃತದ ಧಾರೆ ಇದ್ದಾಗೆ ನನಗೆ ಅನಿಸ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ರುಜ್ವಾತಿ ಕಾರುಣ್ಯ ಸುಧಾಭಿವೃಷ್ಟ್ಯ ಕಟಾಕ್ಷ ದೃಷ್ಟ್ಯ ಮಾಮುದ್ಧರ. And he says, the disciple says, look, you please shower upon me the nectar of your simple, merciful, compassionate look. You please shower upon me that graceful look, that graceful kataksha drishti, your graceful look that will wash away all my sins. Mamuddhara, please save me, please look after me, uplift me from this world of cycle of birth and death. I don't want to be born again and again. So, you please help. Mam Uddhara. Hey Prabhu, you take me into your fold in simple life. You simply uplift me. And now I'm surrendering myself to you. It is not such physical prostration. Mentally also I have prostrated. I'm surrendering to you in the real. So please help me. Please save me from this cycle of birth. And the disciple continues, Acharya writes next. With folded hands, the disciple, devotee, tells Sadguru. ಮುಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲೂ ಒಬ್ಬ ಭಕ್ತ, ಒಬ್ಬ ಶಿಷ್ಯ ಗುರುವಿನ ಏನ್ ಬೇಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾನೆ, ಹೇಗೆ ಬೇಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾನೆ ಮುಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕದಲ್ಲಿ ಅದೇ. ದುರ್ವಾರ ಸಂಸಾರ ದವಾಗ್ನಿ ತಪ್ತಂ ಬೋಧೂಯಮಾನಂ ದುರದೃಷ್ಟವಾತೈಃ. ದುರ್ವಾರ ಸಂಸಾರ ದಾವಾಗ್ನಿ ತಪ್ತಂ ದೋಧೂಯಮಾನಂ ದುರದೃಷ್ಟವಾತೈಃ. ಭೀತಂ ಪ್ರಪನ್ನಂ ಪರಿಪಾಹಿ ಮೃತ್ಯೋಃ ಶರಣ್ಯಮನ್ಯಂ ಯದಹಂ ನ ಜಾನೆ. ಭೀತಂ ಪ್ರಪನ್ನಂ ಪರಿಪಾಹಿ ಮೃತ್ಯೋಃ ಶರಣ್ಯಮನ್ಯಂ ಯದಹಂ ನ ಜಾನೆ. The disciple, the devotee, is requesting, beseeching with a folded hands the Sadguru in front of him. Look, Gurudeva, Prabhu, Swami, I am fed up with this samsara, totally, of the cycle. I am affected. I am totally burnt by the misfortunes, crisis, griefs, sorrows, and fear in this life all the time. In this life, in this birth, I have seen all the time more and more fear, problems, crisis, misfortune, troubles, suffering, grief all the time. So I have fallen at your feet. So that is why Gurudeva, see that you beseech me, you help me, you protect me from this bondage. Protect me. See, Duradrushtavataihi dhodhuyamanam. See, what we call alankara. Alankara means the simile is actually metaphor is used. I am Duradruštavatai dodhuyamanam. Dodhuyamanam means I am shivering. Shivering from Duradruštavatai. The storm is blowing in such a way with 0 degree, -10 degree wind chill factor, very common in Western hemisphere. -20, -30 degree wind chill factor. When a storm is breezing, what happens? The body is so much shivering. If you're exposed, frostbite will occur and a person may die. So that example. See, I am shivering from this storm, windy storm of samsara. That is how he uses it. So I am bheetam. I am afraid. Bheetam. I am afraid. I am afraid. So, prapannam paripahi mrityoho. Prapanna means I have surrendered. I have surrendered to you. Prapannam. Paripahi mrityo. You protect me from death. What does it mean? Acharya means? The disciple says, please protect me from death. Not the physical death, not the death of the body. Everybody has to die, Allah. That you know very well. What is born has to die. So the disciple is saying, protect me from death. Paripahi mrityo. What does it mean? Protect me from this cycle of birth and death. Let me not be born again and die again. Born again, die again. So protect me from that recurring death cycle, birth cycle. That is the point. It is my sincere prayer. You are my only refuge. Sharanam. Sharanyamanyam yadaham na jane. I don't know anybody. Nanage inyaru gottilla gurugale. Yadaham yat na jane. I don't know anybody. Sharanyam. So I have surrendered to you. Anyam na jane. I don't know anybody. You are the refuge. You are my refuge. Ashte. Neevu nanna guru kaapadi. Then Acharya says, next shloka. Please, sometimes I had told earlier. Some of the shlokas mark, underline. They are landmark shlokas. Our Gurudev used to use the word landmark shlokas, and the most important shlokas to be memorized, to retain in your mind. Next shloka is a landmark. Shanta Mahanto Nivasanti Santo Vasanta Valloka Hitam Charantaha Tirna Swayam Bhima Bhavardavam Janan Aheto Nanyan Apitarayantaha Shanta Mahanto Nivasanti Santo Vasanta Valloka Hitam Charantaha Tirna Swayam Bhima Bhavardavam Janan Aheto Nanyan Apitarayantaha. ಮುಂದಿನ ಶ್ಲೋಕ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳುತ್ತೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು ಬರೀತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ, ಮಹಾತ್ಮರು, ಮಹಾಪುರುಷರು, ಸತ್ಪುರುಷರು, ಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು, ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನಿಗಳು, ಸದ್ಗುರು, ಪರಮ ಪುರುಷೋತ್ತಮ, ಪರಮಹಂಸ ಸ್ಥಿತಿ ಇರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥವರು ಹೇಗಿರ್ತಾರೆ. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಜ್ಞಾನಿಯ ವರ್ಣನೆಯನ್ನ, ಆ ಪರಮಹಂಸ ಸ್ಥಿತಿಯ ವರ್ಣನೆಯನ್ನ, ಸದ್ಗುರುವಿನ ವರ್ಣನೆಯನ್ನ ಆಚಾರ್ಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. The next shloka Acharya defines, explains all the attributes of a great Mahatman, Parama Purushottama Mahajna, a great sage, a realized master. How he is. Acharya says, such a great person, his main attributes are, he is always Shanta, always Mahanta, Shanta. Mahantaha, Nivasanti, Santaha. Nivasanti means they will be moving around without any reason for Loka Kalyana, for the sake of the world, for the help, to help the world, Loka Kalyana, to help the world, worldly people, they are moving. Nivasanti Santaha, Shantaha, Mahantaha, Nivasanti Santaha, Vasantavat Lokahitam Charantaha. Vasantavat means just like the spring season, on the onset of spring season, sometime in the end of February and March every year in our country, especially India, Vasanta Rutu is known, well known. All the new leaves appear, the fresh leaves appear, all the trees would have shed their old leaves by end of December, January, February. Then spring arises. Wherever you find lush green appearance, flowers appear, colorful flowers. So spring season denotes ananda, utsaha, happiness, quietness, stillness, everything. So just like a spring season brings such beautiful moments in our life, these Mahatmans, they, for the Loka Kalyana purpose, they'll be moving here and there. Shantaha Mahantaha Nivasanti Santaha Vasantavat Loka Hitam Charantaha. For the sake of the world, they are there, they are moving. They don't expect anything, they don't want anything because already they have reached what a man should ultimately reach. Tirnaha Swayam Bhima Bhavarnavan. ಸ್ವಯಂ ಭೀಮ ಭವಾರ್ಣವಂ ತೀರ್ಣ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಸ್ವತಃ ಅವರೇ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರ ಎನ್ನುವ ಸಾಗರವನ್ನ ದಾಟಿಬಿಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆಚೆ ದಡಕ್ಕೆ ಹೊರಟೋದ್ರು, ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಆತ್ಮಜ್ಞಾನ ಸಂಪನ್ನರಾಗ್ಬಿಟ್ರು ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ. ಯಾರು ಈ ಸಂಸಾರವನ್ನ ದಾಟಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಈ ಸಾಗರವನ್ನ ದಾಟಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಲೆಕ್ಕ. ಸೊ ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ ದ ಓಷನ್ ಆಫ್ ಸಂಸಾರ. ಸಚ್ ಮಹಾತ್ಮನ್ಸ್, ದೇ ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಆಲ್ರೆಡಿ ಕ್ರಾಸ್ಡ್. They are on the other side. And Tirnaha Swayam Bhima Bhavarnavam Janan Ahetuna Anyan Api Tarayantaha. Anyan Janan Ahetuna Tarayantaha. So, after crossing over, they help others. Anyan Janan, all others means devotees and disciples, with divine love, unconditional love. They will help them to cross over. Since already they have experienced, only they can help. There is a hint here. Acharya says. ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಏನ್ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಆಚಾರ್ಯರು? ಸ್ವಯಂ ತಾವೇ ಈ ಸಂಸಾರ ಸಾಗರ ದಾಟಿ ಹೋಗಿದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಸಾಧನೆ ಮಾರ್ಗದಲ್ಲಿ ಮುಂದುವರೆದು ತಮ್ಮ ಆತ್ಮ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದಾರಲ್ಲ, ಅಥವಾ ನಮ್ಮ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಭಗವದ್ ದರ್ಶನ ಆಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ, ಭಗವತ್ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ಆಗಿದೆಯಲ್ಲ ಅವರಿಗೆ ಆ ಅನುಭವ ಇರೋದ್ರಿಂದ ಉಳಿದ ಭಕ್ತರನ್ನ ದಾಟಿಸ್ಲಿಕ್ಕೆ, ಭಗವತ್ ಸಾಕ್ಷಾತ್ಕಾರ ಹೊಂದಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಹಾಯ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೊ ದಿಸ್ ಈಸ್ ಎ ವೆರಿ 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 ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಪಾಯಿಂಟ್ ಟು ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ ಇನ್ ಅವರ್ ಲೈಫ್. ದಟ್ಸ್ ವೈ ರಿಮೆಂಬರ್ our Gurudev used to say all these points once in a way. No, number of times he has said, but at times when he is in a pleased mood, he used to repeat this. Nowhere you get such a wonderful insights our Gurudev has given to all of us, at least to some of us. You know, there is a famous Vedantic shloka, very famous. Durlabho Vishayatyagah Durlabham Tattva-darshanam. Durlabho Vishayatyagah Durlabham Tattva-darshanam. Durlabha means next to impossible. ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟ, ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ ಅನ್ನೋ ಪರಿಸ್ಥಿತಿ. ದುರ್ಲಭ, ಯಾರಿಗೂ ಸಿಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ, ಬಹಳ ಕಷ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಪ್ತಿಯಾಗುವಂಥದ್ದು, ತುಂಬಾ ಕಷ್ಟದಲ್ಲಿ. Durlabha means so much impossible task, very difficult to achieve. Durlabho Vishayatyagah. See, the mind goes towards all our sensory pleasures in our lifetime. In young days, one type. In the youth period, mind is always full of lust, greed, and sex or sexual feelings, instincts, natural, natural. And in the next mid-level, mid-level age, middle age, settling down in the family, making more money because for the sake of my wife, for the sake of my children, for the sake of my grandchildren. So that is another type of. After 60, 70, and the old age sets in, the person knows that nobody will look after him, nobody bothers about him, then his desires are different. How to live for long, how to avoid death, what to do. So, all such problems, all such feelings, all such desires, all. So, that is Vishaya. So, Vishaya Tyaga, forgetting such desires, removing such desires from the mind, humanly impossible, almost impossible. Durlabho Vishaya Tyaga. Tyaga means giving up, sacrifice. Durlabha, please consider, please think. Today, sometimes I request all of you to note down some of these things you will not get in any book. Suddenly, rare gems, rare gems coming from the lotus mouth of the Guru. Durlabha Vishayatyagaha. Once you are capable of that, then what happens in the sadhana mode? Durlabham Tattva Darshanam. Understanding real purport of Vedanta, understanding real purport of your sadhana, still difficult. Even after giving up your vasanas, it is not easy to have tattva darshana, tattva jnana. Durlabho vishayatyagaha durlabham tattva darshanam. Durlabha sahajavastha. Next. Durlabha sahajavastha. Even after attaining tattva darshana, even after say having tattva jnana, still durlabha sahajavastha. Knowing is different, but abiding and being in that state all the time is still difficult. Understanding what is Atma, Anatma. What is Atma, what is Anatma? I am not the body, I am not the mind, I am the Atma Chaitanya. I am eternal, I am deathless, I am birthless. Understanding this by lot of contemplation and serious sadhana, that is one thing. But experiencing directly, that is different. That's why Acharya Vedanta says, Durlabham Sahajavastha. Sadguru Krupaya Vina, the final point. So, why Sahajavastha is not possible so easily? Because it happens only in the end by the grace of the Guru or God. Both are said. It happens by the grace of the Guru or God. ಕೇವಲ ಭಗವಂತ ಅಥವಾ ಸದ್ಗುರುವಿನ ಕೃಪೆಯಿಂದ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸಹಜಾವಸ್ಥೆ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು, ತತ್ವದರ್ಶನ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಏನು ಅರ್ಥ ಆಗತ್ತೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸ್ವಂತ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನದಿಂದ ಇದು ಸಾಧ್ಯವಿಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಈ ಜನ್ಮ ಅಲ್ಲ, ಇನ್ನು 10-100 ಜನ್ಮ ಎತ್ಕೊಂಡು ಬಂದರೂ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಯತ್ನದಿಂದ ಸಾಧ್ಯ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಯಾಕೆಂದ್ರೆ ಗುರುವಿನ ಮಹತ್ವ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬರುತ್ತೆ ಕೊನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ. ಆದ್ರಿಂದ ಗುರು ಮನಸ್ಸು ಮಾಡಿದರೆ, ಗುರು ಸುಪ್ರೀತನಾದರೆ, ಪ್ರಸನ್ನನಾದರೆ ಇವೆಲ್ಲವೂ ಸಿಕ್ಬಿಡುತ್ತೆ. ದುರ್ಲಭೋ ವಿಷಯತ್ಯಾಗ ದುರ್ಲಭಂ ತತ್ವದರ್ಶನಂ ದುರ್ಲಭಾ ಸಹಜಾವಸ್ಥಾ ದುರ್ಲಭಾ ಸಹಜಾವಸ್ಥಾ ಸದ್ಗುರು ಕೃಪಯಾ ವಿನಾ, ವಿಥೌಟ್ ದ ಗ್ರೇಸ್ ಆಫ್ ಸದ್ಗುರು. ದುರ್ಲಭ ಸಹಜಾವಸ್ಥಾ, ಯುವರ್ ನ್ಯಾಚುರಲ್ ಸ್ಟೇಟ್, abiding in that. All jnanis abide in that. They know that I am that. 24 hours bar 7. Not part time. Only during meditation, I know that I am not the body. Next, I am the body. It is not like that. Sahajavastha is so difficult because it is your natural state. We have forgotten that. Our natural state is that only we have forgotten. That is the only difference. Please remember how Vedanta takes you to the core point. So once again, I request with the Guru Sankalpa, today's discourse is being closed. And there will be some disturbances of change of location. I don't know what our Gurudev is making me to like a football being, shuffled here and there, here and there. In between, there might be some technical problems. There might be some disconnection. Please bear with us and help us to continue by Guru's Hari Om. And with a short bhajan, we will close this today. Sri Rama Jaya Rama Jaya Jaya Rama 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 Hari Om Tat Sat. Hari Om Tat Sat. I forgot one thing. Please excuse me. Please just wait. In the beginning, because of the new location, I didn't do Guru Vandana or Guru Prarthana. I will do it. Without that, we started. It's a great mistake on my part. Great mistake on my part. Om Sri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Sri Mahasaraswatyai Namaha. सदाशिवसमारम्भां श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानामालयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतो वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः सर्ववेदान्तसिद्धान्तगोचरं तमगोचरं गोविन्दं परमानन्दं सद्गुरुं प्रणतोऽस्म्यहम् ॐ नमो भगवते विराजेश्वराय हरिः ओम्. Yes.
Sir, that was simply mesmerizing discourse. We just, all of us, I think, we lost ourselves in those thoughts. And of course, some of us have been very lucky to have a guru. Lucky is an understatement. It's the greatest blessing to have
We are all really grateful.
for
We are
that.
really grateful to have it. That is our thousands of janus punya phala, I would call like that. Thousands of births, previous birth punya phala.
Sir,
It is not just like that. Yeah,
Pradeep Joshi ji asks a question. He says,
yeah,
Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj
yeah.
always emphasized on
Hmm.
investigating the source of thoughts. However, he had also imparted mantra diksha to many of his followers. What could
Yeah,
be?
just a minute. You repeat that because I was removing the earphone because it is giving me a lot of problem. That is very, very, very big problem. Yeah, tell me one second.
Sir, Pradeep Joshi ji asks,
Ah,
Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj had
yeah,
always emphasized on investigating the source of thoughts. However,
yeah,
he had also imparted mantra diksha to many of his followers. So, what
yeah,
would be the reasons? I mean, this is common across all jnanis also because they impart mantra diksha to many of their followers as well.
yes, yes,
Uh, Followed the path of investigating the source of thoughts and in the pursuit of figuring out who am I.
Yeah, this is again, Joshiji, namaste. Uh, a common question which has come, it is not something new, what the question. The question is always there, we have seen in life history of all these. So to put it correctly, it means, what he means is, when you are ultimately in the highest Jnana Marga path, when you are in the spiritual path of pure Jnana Marga, as it is called, or Raja Yoga, these mantra diksha are imparting mantras for japa to some people by the same jhanis. It always happens in most of the cases. The only difference is, very rarely a few Mahatmans give mantra upadesha, mantra diksha to some, not to all asked people. For example, I have seen myself with our Gurudev. He used to tell me personally, like a very interesting point here is, like the way you are talking to me as a friend. When I'm alone, he used to sit with me and talk just like a friend, more than a friend. Sometimes I used to wonder why our Gurudev, because I couldn't even look at his eyes. I was looking always at his feet, sitting at the floor. He was sitting in the sofa. And he told me, number of people have asked mantra diksha. I have given only to a few, and others straight away have refused. See, the reason is, number one, it is there well in Vedanta. How jnanis appear to the world, to the onlookers, including his devotees and neutral people, or haters, or ordinary people, or non-spiritual people, that is a mystery. Nobody can decipher, nobody can know, nobody can understand. Their behavior, nobody will understand. Why? Our mind cannot go into that highest locus. See, he is the pinnacle of jnana. With the difficulty, they come to the lower level of the materialistic world or experiential world and talk to us. And our Gurudev was telling once very clearly to me, a jnani, while he is walking and talking with the people living in the world of Maya, he knows it is a world of Maya, mithya, but he will be experiencing both simultaneously, the nitya and anitya part. He will be experiencing simultaneously worldly activities which are not shashvata, perishable, and he will be experiencing the imperishable Atma, because he himself is Atma Swarup, both. And people will never understand this. He used to tell me. So we don't know, we can't understand why some are given mantra diksha, even by great Mahatmas, whether it is Ramana Maharshi or Akkalkot Maharaj or our Gurudev or anybody, any Mahatma, any Mahatma. It always happens. All that point is, only Guru knows exactly about the inner component, antakarana, of in each every disciple or a devotee. And we cannot comment on that, why it's happening. It happens. That's all we know. It happens. Our Gurudev himself is an example. For majority, he has not given mantropadesha. He told me, not once, number of times. Several people come and ask me mantropadesha. What for? They have got some desires. With this mantra japa, they want to fulfill the inner desires. He was laughing at. That's why I cannot give. And he used to say, apatradana. They don't deserve. Now, at least now, maybe in the next birth. Something like that he was speaking, I was just listening. Then, just like you have heard, read the biography of Ramakrishna Paramahamsaji, something like that. How he showered the grace in his last days in Belur Mutt, in Dakshineshwar, Calcutta. He called everybody. See, unimaginable, that grace, love poured from his eyes, Paramahamsa. Whoever was there, they were all elevated instantaneously. Something similar to that happened 1 or 2 months before Mahasamadhi of our Gurudev. He called me privately. And he said, I have repeated this in the ashram while doing discourse on Bhagavad Gita for more than 5 years. A number of times I have said this. Our Gurudev told me exactly, see, several people asked Mantra Diksha. I have not given. I have not given. I have given Mantra Diksha to only a few. But now I tell you, proclaim to the people, openly you tell them, those who are desirous of a Mantra Diksha from me, these are my Gurudev's words, exactly. Those who are desirous even today of Mantra Diksha from me, let them come every third Sunday, Akhanda Nama Sankirtana in Hamsashramam from morning 10 to evening 4 with 1 hour gap for food between 1 and 2. So let them come on any third Sunday at 10 o'clock, sit there and do Nama Japa. Sri Rama, Jaya Rama, Jaya Jaya Rama. That is my Sankalpa. It has started itself. And that will be the Mantra Diksha from me for them. If anybody seriously wants a Mantra Diksha from me, let him come there before commencement, 10 o'clock, sit there in Hamsa Ashram and do Akhanda Nama Sankirtan. That will be Mantra Diksha from me directly. Is as good as I am giving. Tell them, tell everyone. So he gave a direct instruction to me. See, that is compassionate. He has not given to so many. And later he says, call everyone, whoever is interested. I am giving. See, how can you explain this? At our level, we cannot explain how a jnani works, how the mind works. The only thing, it is for our benefit. That much is guaranteed, sir. That much is guaranteed, sir. Hari Om.
Hari Om, sir. Amazing answer based on what mind can discern and what cannot. Sir, there is one common question. This is not for any of those who have a guru right now, but for those who are aspiring for a guru, most of the times we get lost in the worldly pursuit and chase for a guru. And then there are eager gurus also who will say, hey, come here, I'm going to give you Mantra Diksha and you have to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And there are many gurus who have become commercial. So for an ordinary soul to discern who is a Brahmajnani and who is not becomes very difficult. So what so
This is a very, very, very old, often everybody will ask the same question. The answers are very difficult to give because this is exactly how the mind thinks. the only by experience, I can give you my own experience and say, because I don't have others' experience. Only if really, if I am longing to have a guru in my life, God will arrange a guru, definite, 100% definite. That depends on my mental faculties and my preparedness. That is one thing. If I have done good things in the previous birth, really, virtuous deeds, or if I have done sadhanas, previous births, the Lord in Bhagavad Gita uses the term, you remember, Ubhaya Brashta. The person who is already in sadhana mode, deep spiritual sadhana, somehow he could not complete it in that particular birth and he died because of natural causes or because of Ayushya being closed. Without culmination he died, but he had done all that is possible under a able guru. But he never realized himself. But he was sincere and he dies halfway through. Such a person is called Ubhaya Brashta, as Lord says in Bhagavad Gita. And he says, the next immediate birth, so there is no delay of birth for such cases, he says. Immediately they are reborn, definitely as human beings only. That is also guaranteed. Lord says, sometimes rebirth may take hundreds, 1,000 years in our human time scale. Human time scale. Rebirth can occur within 100 years, 50 years, or 1,000 years. But here, a Ubhayabrashta immediately is reborn as a human being only. And his sadhana will commence immediately. Suppose in the previous birth, if he had started sadhana in the age of 30 or 25, let us imagine. The next birth, it will start from the age of 10 itself, 15 itself. Circumstances, God will provide that he will meet his guru in the next birth, the appropriate guru. Automatic. Automatic. He need not search and do anything at all. It happens by God's grace. So such Ubhayabrashtas in the next birth, that will be their last birth. Please remember, Kailashji, that will be their last birth. This is what our Gurudev also said to me. Right? So that will be their last birth. So there is no problem. Now the problem is, as Joshiji asked, how to ascertain a Sadguru? Yeah, it is not possible. It is not possible. Our human mind is so fickle, everything we calculate, it is not possible. A Sadguru will never, announce that he is a Sadguru. Please, you remember the example of Gajanan Maharaj of Maharashtra. Or take the great Sadguru of Gondawale Maharaj, Tukamai as he was called, Tukaram Maharaj. People thought him that he was a madcap. The same people in the same village, they thought that Tukaram Maharaj, he was called Tukaram Mai, a madcap. He was sometimes wearing a small dress, half dress, langoti or pajama, or sometimes no dress, sometimes a monkey type cap, sometimes something. He was, spitting there, walking here. He was sleeping at the gutter mode, and the rubbish he was sitting, eating whatever available with the stray dogs and cats like Shirdi Baba used to. So people thought he's a mad fellow. Great Brahmajnani, sometimes they act like that. They don't want people to know who they are. And he was waiting for Gondawalekar Maharaj to come. Only Gondawalekar Maharaj was given the direction. So he came to the Elega and then met Tukaram Maharaj. And he became his disciple. Take for example, Trilinga Swami or Telanga Swami. Both names are there. A great Dayan, a Brahmavid Varishtha, a Avadhuta. My prostrations to him. Our Gurudev has told me about him, and he was in Kashi. Sometimes completely naked, he was traveling and walking in the Kashi streets. Only few knew that he was a great Avadhuta Brahmajnani. If I tell you an incident, Kailashji and Pradeepji, I am sure people will not believe me. They think I am a madcap. Whenever mood used to come, Trilinga Swami straight away used to walk to Vishwanath, Kashi, Vishwanath temple, Baba Vishwanath. Those Pandas, they were afraid of him so much, they knew they used to give way because they thought he is a great miracle man. So they were afraid in that sense. Shapanugraha Samarthya, they carry. They may give you Shapa or Anugraha, both. So they were afraid, they used to give way. He used to straight away enter the small sanctorium of Kashi Vishwanath, stand there. Pardon me if I use these words, unparliamentary words, because it is in the life history of great Mahatman Trilinga Swami or Telanga Swami. He used to look at the Shivalinga, Baba Vishwanath, stand there, urinate on the Shivalinga. Urinate on the Shivalinga and go away. Or sometimes defecation on the Shivalingam. He will shat on the Shivalingam and go away. If I say this, do you think you will believe? If you have not heard what Trilinga Swami is, Mahatma, great Mahatma. Nobody will believe this if I tell now in 2020. Strange are the ways. Strange are the ways. There are explanations for that higher level which I cannot explain in this open meeting.
Yes.
So we don't know how jnanis behave. So what they do, what they give, how they treat their disciple, whether they give mantra diksha or not, or whether they scold you, or they may not give anything at all. But their glance, Guru Kataksha, Dhatu Prasadena, everything will happen. Everything will happen. That Puranpoda example I told you last time, remember Panta Eknath, a disciple, not a real disciple, according to other disciples. He was only eater. They were, jealous of him. But Sant Eknath Ji used to love him so much. He never used to do any Guru Shushruksha. Guru Seva in the conventions and Acharya says, never he did. At least remember, Latu Maharaj, who became Adbhutananda Swami later, he was, though illiterate, he was doing menial job and, like a servant looking after Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, cleaning his bed, cleaning his clothes, sweeping, maintaining there. He was totally illiterate, Latu.
Yes.
Totally illiterate. Forget anything. Paramahamsa didn't teach him anything at all. All that he was doing was, menial. Our house servant every time comes and then monthly you pay salary and she sweeps the home, cleans the utensils and washes the home. Same thing Latu Maharaj used to do. And what happened? Guru Kataksha Vikshana. Silently Paramahamsa Maharaj, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa graced him. Without his knowledge, he became the great Swami Adbhutananda Maharaj, direct disciple of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, one among the 12. If anybody has read Adbhutananda Maharaj's biography, they will understand what I am talking. Like that, strange are the ways of Guru. Still stranger, I cannot say. How strange. Why he gives mantra diksha to others. And for why some people he will say only Jnana Marga, go in this Jnana Marga. Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. Samadhi. Why? Nobody. And for some, do this work, manual work. I think our Gurudev used to say, Kailash Ji, this is a point for all. Please remember, for ladies, our Gurudev used to say, you know what, openly, do your duty as a housewife in this Kali Yuga, age of spiritual darkness. People are there to hound you if you remain unmarried. Don't be under the impression that you become a sannyasini and walk away. No, you cannot live alone because the world is so horrible. Any lady living alone can be raped anytime. You have no social security. Okay, you can say, my parents are there, my brother is there. For how many days they will look after? Ultimately, you are left alone. You need a social security. You need a social status. If you remain unmarried for some reason, people will look down in a different sense towards you. In India, you have no value in the minds of those people who look down upon you as an unmarried or a spinster. They try to take advantage of you. This is what our Gurudev used to say. Get married. Settle down. Don't be under the foolish habit of, I want to be spiritually, I want to live separately, I want to be live without marriage. All that not possible for most of you. He used to say like that. Get married, settle down, do your household duty as a wife. Do your duty as a mother, sincerely. Do your duty as a daughter-in-law, sincerely. Look after. You are the Swamini of the house, our Gurudev used to say. Several ladies, I remember Kailash Ji, I will not take the names. Somehow they feel they don't want to get married. They're all very good devotees of our Gurudev. I bow my head to them. At a very young age, they are so much devoted to our Guru. But Gurudev used to say like this. Why do you say you don't want to get married? You cannot live alone. After your parents die, your brother may look after you today, tomorrow you are left alone. After the age of 30 or 40 or 50, you become so lonely, you become a mental patient. So, get married. Look after your husband, your children, your in-laws with sincerity. Do the household chore. That is a primary duty, enough in Kali Yuga. And whenever possible, do Nama Japa. Enough. He never prescribed rigorous sadhana to ladies at all. I am a witness to it. Exceptions are there, always there. That is a different thing. He was mentioning generally. He was mentioning generally for the ladies. I have seen exceptions with my Gurudev also. There are exalted, realized ladies I have seen, Kailashji. I bow my head to those matas who are ardent devotees of a Gurudev. But that is rare. That is rare. I can't take the names. So he was referring to general. So that is why we don't know how things happen. We can't understand. One question was there. I don't have a guru. A lot of people ask me this. A lot of people ask, so many people. We don't have it. Oh, you are fortunate. You have such a guru. We don't have guru. What to do? The answer is simple, though it is difficult. Have Shraddha, conviction, devotion to the Ishtadevata God. Pray sincerely to the God in the form you like. Paramatma, God, you appear in this birth only in the form of a Guru. Take me into your fold. If your prayer is sincere to the core, he will arrange a Guru. You need not go in search of a Guru. Things happen. At the same time, people go to a false Guru, fake Guru. That is also there because that is the Purva Janma Prarabdha. Nobody can help. They have to go to a false Guru in this birth. They will be deluded along with the Guru. My Guru used to, our Gurudev used to say, it is like a blind man trying to show the way to another blind man. So it is in the Prarabdha both, he used to say. The blind Guru, blind man, it is his Prarabdha that he wants to popularity, make money, and he is happy, and he is swept by the Maya, and he thinks really he is a big Guru. The Maya will catch hold in such a way, his ego is bloated. Whatever he says, he thinks I am the real Guru. Like the Poundarika Vasudeva. He thinks that I am the Vasudeva myself. So it happens because of Prarabdha. So I think we'll stop here at this point. this is a long question. This cannot be answered. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Hari
Hari
Om, sir. Shall we stop, sir? Okay. Hari Om.
Hari Om.